Welcome to Crafty Workshop Builds. Today I'll be talking about 10 useful tools to work on Volkswagens and Audis, so stay tuned. First on the list is Torx. This is one of the most common types of screws you will find on these cars, and you will realize that as soon as you try to fix something. And that's the reason why I have multiple variations of Torx tools. The Torx socket is usually the first type that I will use, once there is enough space for the socket to fit. I like to use the socket because I can use it with power tools, which will make the process faster. The screwdriver types allow me to reach tight spots where I'm not able to fit a socket with an extension. It also helps when I need to hand tighten a screw that doesn't require a lot of torque. It's easy to over tighten a screw if you are using a power tool or a ratchet if you're not careful. The L-shaped Torx key wrench is a useful tool to have. It allows me to fit into tight spots where I'm not able to fit a Torx socket with a ratchet. Triple square. You won't run into triple square screws and bolts as much as Torx head screws and bolts. But similar to Torx, if you don't have the specific tool, you won't be able to properly remove the bolt or screw. I have both the regular size and stubby sizes. I got the regular size first, then later on realized that I needed a stubby size as well. I suggest getting a durable set of these because some of the bigger bolts on these cars can be triple square, which will require a lot of torque to break loose or tighten. If you're only going to get one set, I recommend getting the stubby sizes because they're able to fit into tight spaces. Hex sockets. The hex bolt is another common thing that you'll find on these cars. That's why I have a few variations of hex sockets and bits. The more variations you have, it will be easier to take on certain projects with less hassle. And again, most of the time I will always first try to use the hex socket with a power tool, as long as the space allows me to. I have the extended version as well as the standard short version. If you're only going to get one set, I'd recommend getting the standard size, then get the extended set later on, but it's useful to have both sizes. It's also good to have a set of Allen key wrenches. It will be useful for smaller screws and bolts, and it will fit into tighter spots where the socket won't work. Pick tool. This is one of the simplest but most useful tools on the list. The electrical sockets on these cars can be annoying to disconnect by just using your hands. After I found out how easy it was to disconnect sockets with using the pick tool, I don't even attempt to disconnect sockets without using one. The pick tool is also good to remove seals, gaskets, and O-rings. Sometimes I use the pick tool to help to remove hoses. Some hoses are stuck even after removing the clamp, so I use the pick tool to carefully loosen and separate the hose from being stuck, which is much easier than trying to just pull on the hose. The pick tool is also useful to remove small plastic covers and rubber grommets. I also have a variation of types and sizes of pick tools, which helps me to do various tasks. Quarter-inch ratchet set. The quarter-inch ratchet set is easy for people to look over. Most people tend to invest in the 3/8 and 1/2-inch drive ratchet sets. The 3/8 ratchet set is often used to do majority of the work, and the 1/2-inch drive ratchet set is used to do anything that requires more torque to loosen or tighten. I recommend getting a quarter-inch ratchet set because the small form factor allows for it to fit into tighter spots. While working on these cars, you will notice that a lot of things are in tight spaces and require the proper tool in order to take on certain projects. This is a micro bit driver. This tool can be used with these small bits and it works like a ratchet. It has a forward and reverse switch and it has a magnet that holds the bits in place. This bit driver can also be extended by using some of the bit extensions. The added extension will allow you to apply more force to break loose or tighten things. I use this tool to fit into super tight spots where I'm not able to fit a regular size socket and a ratchet. For comparison, this is a T25 bit on a 3/8 ratchet versus a T25 bit on a quarter-inch ratchet. This is a T25 bit on the bit driver versus a T25 bit on the quarter-inch ratchet. This is a T25 bit on the 3/8 ratchet versus a T25 bit on the bit driver. These are all T25 bits set up to loosen or tighten the same size screws, but look at the difference in length. And this micro bit driver tool can be used with all kinds of quarter-inch bits, so it's pretty flexible. Hose clamp pliers. Hose clamps can be one of the most annoying things to remove if you don't have the right tools. These are some of the tools that I use to remove clamps. This cable hose clamp tool is able to squeeze and lock, which makes it easy to remove hose clamps. I usually try to use this tool first if there's enough space for it to fit. Otherwise, I will try to use something like one of these pliers to remove the clamp. There are certain situations where a long reach needle nose pliers is best to remove the hose clamp. OBD2 scanners. If you plan to work on your car by yourself, you will more than likely come across having to deal with a check engine light. You will need some sort of tool to scan, read, and clear the codes. I recommend getting a VAG scanner. This will allow you to read manufacturer specific codes and allow you to scan the transmission for codes as well. I also recommend getting a scanner that does ABS and airbags. Having this feature will allow you to scan, read, and clear ABS and airbag codes. You could also get a VCDS cable that works with a computer software. That would pretty much do everything a regular scanner could do and also capable of coding, but this could be a slightly more expensive option. Brake caliper tool. Having a brake caliper tool will make it a lot easier to compress the brake caliper pistons. You might be able to compress some brake pistons with a C-clamp, but the rear caliper is often required to be twisted and pressed at the same time in order for them to be compressed. It is possible to do it without the proper tool, but having the specific brake caliper windback tool will make the job easier and faster. Wheel hanger. This tool helps with installing and removing the wheels. For the most part, these cars do not come with wheel studs. They have lug bolts instead. Lug bolts don't give the option of hanging the wheel while removing and installing them, which can be really annoying and potentially dangerous. Using a wheel hanger tool like this one will make it easier and prevent you from potentially hitching your fingers if the wheel falls off unexpectedly. And that's pretty much it for this one. And obviously you will also need to have other tools as well, but these are just some of the tools that I use and I find to be useful and thought I should share. And I will have the links in the description below to some of these tools, so feel free to check it out. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.